Guys, so this blog post is about how I convinced my previous employer to let me work remotely from Medellin, Colombia for 4 months. So this was an absolutely life-changing experience for me. I had wanted to experience and live in Colombia for quite a while. I do salsa dancing, I do bachata dancing. I love the culture, beautiful women over there, and I wanted to go in and live there. I went. Long story short is I went. Some context, I guess, is that I went there for vacation with my friends for about a week, and after being there for a couple days, I was like, I gotta come here and I gotta live here for a period of time. And so I went back to my employer in Los Angeles, and basically from there, I'll explain to you how I got myself to have my company that I was working for agree to let me work remotely out of Colombia in South America for a couple months while I was still making U.S. dollars, L.A. money, and so summarize it in a couple steps. Number one is work my ass off for 3.5 years building a pipeline and reputation. Number two, became one of the top performers. Number three, built up trust. Number four, created leverage. Number five, made the ask. And number six, was willing to walk. So just to break it down a little bit more, number one, I worked my ass off for 3.5 years building a pipeline and reputation for myself. This is obviously the foundation of it all, and is the most important part. You got, long story short, you got to put in the work. You got to come in, make the reps, take action day over day over day. And there's no shortcut. There's no magic secret. It's just about putting in the work. So basically, I busted my ass for 3.5 years grinding, and building up a pipeline at the company to where at the end of those 3 years, I was really consistently hitting my stride and getting deals in consistently every so often, right? And I was knocking down deals every month and became one of the top, most consistent performers in my company. So, I mean, this is really the meat of it, is just really putting in the work for over 3 years. In the first year, when I was building up a pipeline and ramping up, I would literally have tally marks of like 30, at a minimum 30 calls I would do every day. And these were like targeted calls. So not just like smiling, dialing, but like targeted to directors or VPs at certain companies, like being like a sniper. So it took 3.5 years of consistent work to even have like a foundation to where I can make that kind of ask. Okay, so it takes that dedication. And then the other piece to it, number two, became one of the top performers. What that allowed me to do was become one of the top performers because I put in that time and effort. And number three, that allowed me to build trust up with my employer, as well as building a reputation for myself of having a work ethic, of working hard, and somebody who got the job done. I was working in a sales floor of 50 reps where 80% of the reps were not hitting quota. Now, when I was hired, I was the youngest hire there, and within those 3.5 years, became not only one of the consistent performers, but also a top performer, consistently within the top 10% of the company. So for someone being the youngest hire, transitioning to being one of the top reps in about 3 years, what that did was it created a lot of value in myself as somebody who was a consistent performer, and the company could count on to get the job done. And because most of the reps were not hitting quota, it made the people who were hitting quota, such as myself, incredibly valuable. Now, this is not to brag or anything. This is merely just meant to share with you guys how I was able to do this, because a lot of people ask me when I tell them, hey, I spent the last year living in Medellin, Colombia, while still making U.S. wages. And most people are like, wait, how did you do that? So this is just to share with you guys. Now, the other 2 points Well, so along with that was, once I made myself incredibly valuable, that creates leverage. Now you become what Seth Godin calls a linchpin, which is somebody for which an organization is heavily dependent upon, or just highly valuable within the organization. So if you make yourself highly valuable, it's almost as if the business, the company that you're working for, needs you and doesn't want to lose you. So I created that leverage by being a high performer there. And once you create leverage, then you make the ask. It's only after you bust your butt for a sustained period of time, build up a reputation, become a top and consistent performer, create leverage in yourself where you are a top performer and the company cannot let you go. It's only at that point that you want to make your ask, because at that point you've kind of lined everything up to where the company cannot let you go. You're so valuable that they cannot let you go. You are indispensable. At that time, you make the ask then, and you have the greatest shot of them saying yes. And the other piece that made this work was that I knew that I wanted to go live in Colombia so much that I was willing to do whatever it took. So I didn't care if the company said no. If they said no, I knew in my heart I was somebody that I was just going to go out there and do it regardless. And I shared that with my manager. She said, hey, Tommy, I'm going to go make the ask for you to senior management, but I just want to know, what if they say no to you? And I told her straight up, hey, honestly, I'm just the kind of person where if I really want to do something, I'm just going to go and do it. So if they say no, that's fine. I'm just going to find another way to go do it. And so basically my point is I was willing to walk because I knew my outcome and I knew what I wanted. And regardless of whether they said yes or no, I was going to go and do it. So that let them know that I was willing to walk. And I think when you genuinely know that, I come from that perspective and know who you are, what you want, and what you're willing to do to get it, that puts them in a position where they know that you're willing to walk, and they don't want you to walk if you've done all the things up front, like I shared in this video, of making yourself indispensable. So all those things put together created that outcome. So you can certainly do this for yourself. A book that I would recommend on this is Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek, where he explains exactly how he did that as well, and how you can do it as well, basically by making yourself indispensable, incredibly valuable, and building up trust with your company so that they trust that you're going to perform even in that situation. Okay. All right. I hope you guys got value out of this, and if you did, please share or comment in the comments below, and I'll see you guys soon.